Weekly Riff with Chris. Anyway, welcome. And if you're new to the channel, thank you for subscribing. Let's talk about gear this week. Just in general, nothing specific. Gear. It can be a complex world. What do you get? What do you play? What do you like? What don't you like? How's it feel? That kind of thing. It's all really subjective. It just depends on what you want to hear when you play a chord or beat on it, if it's drums, or whatever. For me, what I like to hear is a definition of the chord or the note, whether it's distorted or clean, when we're talking about with an amp. And it's got to have the power that is necessary to do what I want to do with it. If I want to gig, if I want to just practice in the truck, or if I am recording. Let's step back away from the complexities and just talk about the differences between different amps and different guitars and what have you. If you're just starting out, you really don't need to worry about it so much. You just need something that makes noise. You can start out with a cheap guitar, a cheap amp, and a cheap cable, and maybe spend $200 total. Granted, it's not high quality or high standard, but it does the job. It does what it needs to do. You don't need to buy a $3,000 guitar just to learn how to play. You could buy the high-end stuff, the $5,000 Gibson Les Paul, or the $2,500 American-made Fender Strat, but it's not necessary when you can buy a Squier Strat, which Squier is made by Fender, for about $150. Or you can buy an Epiphone Les Paul for about $400. You don't have to spend an arm and a leg. And to be honest with you, first guitar I ever bought, I bought it at a pawn shop. And I paid, I think, maybe $60 for it. Was it great quality? No. But I love that guitar. It made noise, and it made the noise I wanted it to make, and it made it loud. Granted, I had to go through an amp, and my first amp was a Crate GX15R. It was a good little amp. In fact, I replaced it here recently. I think I paid maybe $100 for that amp. It was a beast. Could I gig with it? Nah, probably not. But it was a 30-watt amp, so it was plenty loud enough to piss off my parents, and that was the point. I really shouldn't say that, but I did make Mom mad a few times with how loud I was. But you know what, though? It taught me a lot of things, about sonics and dynamics. But nonetheless, it was fun. If you're looking to maybe buy a guitar for your kid, they want to play, they want to learn, I would strongly suggest, going to places like Sweetwater or Guitar Center or your local music shop. I would preferably suggest mom and pops, which Sweetwater is definitely an independent, so it's not a big corporate. It's not going to be high end. You're not going to buy anything too expensive, but it does what it's supposed to do, and it's fun. The point I'm making is you don't have to spend a lot of money to get started. None of the guitars that I have are more than $500. In fact, the retail price on my most expensive is somewhere in the $400 range, and that would be my Les Paul, made by Epiphone. As far as drums, that's a little different. There are, we'll say, economy, very affordable kits, but they're not what you would necessarily gig with, because they're not very well constructed. Those you're going to spend a little more money on, as my friend Matt can certainly attest to, and Storm. Every drummer that I know can attest to how expensive drums are. Bass, very similar to guitar. You can get really affordable, good quality instruments and amps, and do what you want to do. In a future episode, I will highlight my guitars and show you what I've got and why I got them. But I don't necessarily do reviews on this show, so it won't be much of a review show. It'll be more of a show and tell. But that being said, you don't have to bust the bank to play Rockstar. There are other videos here on YouTube that you can find, that help you achieve the sound you want for not a lot of cash. One channel that I can think of right off the top of my head that actually has a segment called Sounds Like Without Busting the Bank. Great show. I like it. But anyway, I've watched videos here on YouTube of phenomenal guitar players playing the cheapest guitars ever, and they sound great. They really do. Do they have DiMarzio pickups? No. Do they have a mahogany body? No. Do they have the Spurs locking tuners on it? Probably not. And it's not necessarily the gear that makes it sound good. It's the player. You're not going to be able to, you plug into your Guitar Hero's rig and sound like your Guitar Hero. You're going to sound like you. If Zakk Wylde plugged into my rig, he's going to sound like Zakk Wylde. I plug into Zakk Wylde's rig, that would be a dream. I'm going to sound like me. Crappy. Maybe I'm a little hard on myself, but it is what it is. But the point is, your sound is you, not your gear. You can make a $30 guitar, which I own, sound really good. Or you can make it sound really bad, depending on your ability. So, the long and short of it is, no, it's not cheap, but it doesn't have to be super expensive either. And you can do it. You don't necessarily have to go and buy brand new. You don't have to go to, the music shop. You can look on, various websites, like Reverb or Craigslist or, even Facebook Marketplace, or your local pawn shops, support your local. But that being said, you can find gear for decent prices. You don't have to take out a second mortgage just to fund your hobby. With that being said, y'all have a good day. If you like what you just saw, please click the like, subscribe button, share it with friends. That would help me out greatly. Another way to help me is to click on the link in the description for my Patreon. Appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good day.